Right, recording. Let's get this going, man. Okay, Max. Nice to see you, man. Nice to finally meet you.
Finally,
Yes, we've spoken a little bit over the months and just discussed like our sort of plans and protocols, what we deem as successful and shared ideas. So, what do you think of the vision board, man? How's your vision board coming along?
it's fun to say the least,
Yeah.
to like map out how I want to have my life look like. But yeah, it only has been 1 day, so I'm not sure if the
Yeah.
effect will be great. For how long have you had yours?
So my vision board, I've actually had it probably about 3 weeks, so it's not been that long. But but before that, the like how I managed to compile so much stuff into it came from affirmations journaling. So I've been doing that for a long time. I've been doing that for
Yeah,
like almost a year now. Almost a year. Since the beginning of this year, I've been doing the affirmations, the journaling, the gratitude. You know, um,
yeah,
just stepping into that, it helps a lot with creating my vision. And then I've got a whiteboard here that I have my main like goals and affirmations and daily reminders and things like that written down here. So
yeah.
so that helps a
I
lot.
think that's really powerful, like to keep reminding yourself of the most important things.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, so if you don't mind me asking, man, what even though this isn't the actual podcast, but we're just gonna like run ideas by each other, and I just want to know you a little bit better because you're gonna be one of the first people that I'm inviting onto Adonis Talks. So
So,
damn, bro, hasn't taken off yet, just yet, bro. Don't worry.
oh Jesus,
You okay?
yeah, just got some some
Good. Or like you swallowed incorrectly?
yeah.
Yeah, I did that the other day. Actually, I was like choking on my own spit. I was just like, oh, what? You know, it's weird. You struggle to breathe, and then you start panicking because you can't breathe, and then you like forget how to breathe. You start
For
coughing.
sure. Yeah,
Oh
it
shit.
always happens to me like when I'm outside or in like the public transport,
Yeah,
especially like during Corona times. It's like you standing there in the train
yeah.
and you start coughing like all the time, and everyone looks to you,
It's
like takes a
like,
bit more distance. Yeah.
get away from me, bro. You know what? I just realized, right? This is gonna be actually really crazy. So, whereabouts in Germany are you, if you don't mind me asking? You're in Germany or
Sorry. Yeah, in Germany, in Berlin.
Berlin? Berlin.
And you? Berlin
I'm
is
in,
the
I'm
capital.
in the UK, London.
Oh, London. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm saying this because I have another German friend who's I think he's near Frankfurt. Right, don't quote me there. Frankfurt or Munich. But you and him actually look very similar. Very similar. You've even got like the same hair frame and everything. His name is
Yeah.
Bischoff.
Bischof.
Yeah,
That's his name. I've never heard a German guy with this
really.
name.
I mean, neither have
Yeah.
I. But it's interesting, man. And I was just like, shit, okay. I was just talking to you, and it took me a minute to just kind of draw up the similarities. And I thought, damn, okay, yeah,
Maybe
you
he's
guys
my
even
lost brother.
maybe you never know. You're like
Yeah, for
the
sure.
self improvement brother. I mean, he's also on the self improvement thing. I put him on, but
Yeah,
that's cool, man. It's nice to like actually create similarities with pre existing people and then draw
for
up
sure.
new relationships. You know. Um. So yeah, the what I wanted to ask is, how did you get into the whole self improvement movement?
It's a kind of a long story. So I think for most people it starts with like YouTube. So like back then I was like really addicted to like video games. So like from 12 to like 15, 16, I basically did nothing but like play video games and like watch a lot of YouTube videos
Yeah.
while doing it. And then I like got the first like recommendations from like self-improvement YouTubers. And over time, it was like you see what your life can be like if you would work on yourself. But in the beginning, it's like, yeah, it's good to know what you have to do, but you can't do it, right? It's like you start out. It's, I think Hamza calls this the self-improvement depression,
Yeah.
of like knowing where to go but not being able to go there.
Yeah.
And I've been stuck in this like for like two years. Um, and then I finally like managed to get out of this, like take action, really make changes, really build habits, become consistent. And now I'm actually in the coaching, helping others do the same, like people who are stuck in this self-improvement depression, help them like get out of this. Yeah.
Nice.
And
So
for you?
yeah, so my whole sort of step into the in like really stepping into self improvement and just identifying. It started with me like first of all facing my flaws and like identifying that I actually do have a problem. So
Yeah.
I mean we're in the same Discord, we're in the same like Adonis group, so I post quite frequently there, and I've been quite open with my background. So
For
I've been in
sure.
the army for like 7 years plus, right?
Oh wow.
Yeah, I served in the British Army, and that process was probably like it laid the foundations for me understanding a little bit more about myself, but it also came with like a lot of the old trauma that I didn't deal with. So a lot of that
Hmm.
spilled over into that job, and that well, it's not even, I can't even say it's a job, it's a lifestyle, right? That life is tough enough as it is. It's completely unknown to, anyone who's never like served or been in, right? It's a different mentality.
Yeah.
The caliber of people are different, right? Um, so it was like a very like hyper like masculine driven environment, and
Sure.
I was just very emotionally reactive, and that spilled over into everything. So when I left, actually, at the beginning of this, yeah, at the beginning of this year, when I actually like left and I've completely like come out of military service, that's when I started to like sit more with myself, because I was
Hmm.
always doing something. When I had time to just sit down and think to myself, I was like, oh wow, like, there's a lot of stuff here that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
And I immediately signed up for counseling, therapy, dealing with traumas from my past, traumas that I experienced in the army, and
Hmm.
um, and yeah, I was just like constantly looking for, I was like looking and looking for a sign, looking for something to help me become a better version of myself, and essentially like undo these negative traits, and just be the best version that I possibly can be, because we all have this dream, we all visualize ourselves as like this, you know the the better version of ourselves, right? As men, we
For
always
sure.
see ourselves being like what Adonis effectively is in our own shape and form, but then you just can't seem to like, what needs to be done, we just can't seem to like get it done. That's the
Exactly.
self-improvement
Yeah.
depression. And that used to frustrate the hell out of me, man, because for years, I'm telling you, years, we're talking like a good like 4 or 5 years, I would be
Wow.
in this process. Yeah, and like I'd be in this process where I would do something, I would see myself making progress, I'd see myself making the progressions, but because of this like deep-rooted trauma, the psychological trauma in the background, um that was like this belief system that I just wasn't worthy, that I wasn't good enough, I would always find a way to self sabotage, and then just knock myself down, and then restart, hate myself, fall into like a series of bad habits, and yeah, I finally decided to take a stand and just face face the ugliness in the mirror, so to speak, and admit
Yeah.
that admit that, because ego's the biggest killer of your
For
self
sure.
development.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I found
And
found Hamza, and that's it. Rest of history.
wow. Yeah, that's dope. I think like the big problem with self-development is that it's not like virtuous to fix like the problems you have, because I think Jordan Peterson said something similar, that it's embarrassing to have those problems in the first place, right? It's like
Yeah,
to be addicted to porn, to be addicted to social media, to all that stuff.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not it's not something you can brag about. Like, hey, I quit porn. Like, yeah, what the fuck? Why are you
yeah,
addicted in the first place? So
yeah. Exactly.
So I think that's why also like a lot of people focus on like different things, because it's just too painful to like face your problems, your like weaknesses, to say, okay, I'm really bad at this. Like for example, in like after school, after I finished school, I traveled for like 6 months in New Zealand. And
Nice.
when I went there, it was like a very big like step for me, because I had crazy social anxiety. It was like I went to hostels in the first like couple of weeks, and I wanted to lock myself in my room because I was so overwhelmed, because there were so many new people, and I was just not used to like talking to new people, and it was really difficult. Um, but like over time, and I think this is like true for everything, over time you just get better at things, and you like whatever weakness you have, you can actually address it and improve it. And yeah, like you said, I think you need to put the ego aside and say, okay, I'm really bad at this, but I can actually improve, and I take responsibility to work on that and deal with it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree because like this whole year has been like a constant series of what I call like like safety nets, right?
Hmm.
So because I know, because I identified, okay, I've had this pattern, this self perpetuating reoccurring pattern for most of my life, where I would build myself up. I'd like just start to like scale the mountain. I'll get past the first, second milestone, and then it's almost like that. There's something in the back of my head that's like, hold up. You're trying to tell me that if you carry on, you're actually going to be successful? No, we can't have that. We cannot
Mm,
have that. Right? We
yeah.
have to mess this up. And then it's like, yeah, you know, staying up really late, porn, like excessive video games, binge eating food that we know is not good for us. Um, and then I'd feel crap about it and then want to give up. And then next thing is I've knocked myself out of the cycle and then I have to restart and rebuild.
Yeah.
And then seeing other people just kind of like almost like effortlessly make
Mm,
the progress would
yeah.
demotivate me even more. And then I was just like, oh, I hate my life, you know? So I set up the safety nets, like one with therapy, one I got a mentor when it came to like mindset, financial, like physical self improvement, development. Right, I modeled myself off them. Um,
Hmm.
so that I've actually got two like of the people that I'd say I model off of, which is what my content will be like the sort of like the hybrid of, because it'll be me, but I'm using these two guys together as like my mentors, so to speak.
Yeah.
One is Hamza,
Hmm.
because Hamza is extremely relatable. And I
Sure.
mean, I've said this. I think that we were in a call with him. There's like a load of guys from the Adonis group in there.
Yeah.
I can't recall if you were there, but there were a lot of guys. There were lots of guys there, and yeah, we were just sort of talking, just just chatting, and then it actually like it was like a unwillingly turned into almost like a one-to-one like therapy sort of vocal session where he
Hmm.
was asking me about my situation, my past, etc., and I was telling him, and everyone else was just listening in. And I
Yeah.
said, like, you know, it's like you are the version of me that is currently coming. You are the version of me that I've always held back. You've just brought yours out
Hmm.
sooner. I'm bringing mine out now, and
Yeah.
our walks of life are extremely like so close. The only difference is I went into the military instead of university. He went to university instead of the military,
Hmm.
and I did a few things differently because lifestyles have its own way of doing things, right? But
For
I say
sure.
he's like the northern version of me in a sense. Um, yeah, because he's in the north. I live in the south of England. But yeah, so that's him. That's one of the guys, and then the other guy is a fitness YouTuber called Austin Dunham. Have you heard of him?
I think we spoke about him yesterday,
Yeah, we
but
did briefly.
before, yeah, before I didn't know him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, YouTube's a big platform. YouTube's like another world within this world, right? It's in
For sure.
the digital sphere, right? So yeah, I mean, he's a pretty big like calisthenics YouTuber. So I'm also into calisthenics. So I took mentorship from him. Then it started to like grow a bit more into talking about like lifestyle improvement, etc., mindset, and all that, coupled with the therapy, the counseling, coupled with being in this Discord. I started to build healthy habits, and replace the negative ones. And now, like yourself, I'm also offering coaching and,
Yeah,
just kind of like building my own portfolio up. And then I'll show that out to the world. And that's what my YouTube channels are going to be based off. So,
that's
yeah, I
dope.
agree, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like most people have a very similar like way of getting into like those like more advanced stages of being like I think for most people there's like some trauma, some like things in the past, and
Mm.
then you like either transcend it or you don't, like most people. I mean, like 95% of people aren't very happy. Like I don't know the numbers, but a lot of people are obese. Like in the USA, it's crazy. It's like
Oh, yeah.
60% or so.
Yeah, here too.
So yeah, I think it's really, I think it's almost like our responsibility and duty to like share what we learn, to help others like do the same and go
100%.
through a similar transformation, just like Hamza did, just like the other guys did,
Yeah.
to like, yeah, help others do the same.
Yeah. And like this is the funny thing as well, right? And it's like it's no disrespect to him. Oh, I've got nothing but respect for the guy. But he even says in like quite a few of his videos, he's like, I'm just a guy with a camera. There's nothing special about me.
Yeah,
I'm just a guy with a camera who did the hard work, when he didn't want to. I really like that quote. But it's
yeah, for
it's
sure.
true. It's true because I just want to touch on a point that you mentioned earlier. Like Jordan Peterson says that people who are ashamed and are battling, these negative habits, and and how like society would sort of respond if you were like, hey, guess what, I quit porn, like, I didn't use a blocker, I didn't use any sort of like filtering software, or didn't have my IPS sort of like disable it or ban it. It was just pure
Yeah,
sheer willpower, where I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna go on porn sites, I'm not gonna fap, right? I'm gonna like use that energy and like transmute it, right? Transmutational energy.
for
um
sure.
but the thing is, people would almost like not react positively unless they are like, enlightened on self-improvement, but they'd actually
For
scorn you
sure.
and think, well, that's weird, like, why do you have this, why would you watch porn, because that's weird. But the irony of it is that they themselves are more than likely well, not guilty, but they suffer from the same sort of illnesses,
For sure.
but they'll never admit it. So it's like this whole concept of self-improvement, because I had someone tell me, I remember, I was having a conversation just randomly when I was out in London last weekend, and I told someone that, they were asking me, oh yeah, so like, what do you do, etc., in your spare time, and I just said, well, I have like a self improvement YouTube channel, and they were like, oh, self improvement, tell me what does this mean, and so I just explained that, in a very simplistic form, on the 5 pillars of self improvement, what they are, etc., and how you go about doing it, and they were like, oh, that's interesting. And then they immediately followed up. Their question was, so do you think that you're better than other people? And I said, no. It's got like, you completely missed the point, the premise that I was trying to make. The
Yeah,
concept of self-improvement is not to be better than other people. It's in the name. It's self-improvement. You are constantly being the best version of yourself. And in doing so, you strike up the influence amongst other people, because what like look at like celebrities, and look at like people who, right, this is actually probably more uh potent, But like, look at someone that you knew from like school, for example, who suddenly got like a really well-to-do job, or they're living their best life, right? Living their best life. Of course, it's going to strike up intrigue and interest. You're going to ask like, what happened? Like, what are you doing? But
For sure.
this person took a completely um like a very Jeffrey approach to it, and they were just like, so you think you're better than us? So you think that because you work out and you can find the time in the day to cook your meals and, you know, like, basically live this like uber efficient lifestyle, that you're better than people who can't? And I was just like, no, all
I
it
mean,
does is help me function as a human being better, you know?
for sure. And I mean, it depends on like how you define good,
Yeah.
right? It's like if I would hire someone, like probably I would hire the person who's into self-improvement over the person who has like, for example, the same skills but isn't into self-improvement.
Yeah.
So this would be a context where this had an influence. But I think it's important to understand that like no matter what you do with your life, I think you are valuable and everyone is valuable. And we are not more valuable than like someone who just isn't into self-improvement. I think it's like the same with the discussion, like everybody, like every body is beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And I think, sure, I think every human has like some beauty in him, and I think we should treat everyone with respect. But at the same time, I think it's silly from people to say like, yeah, everyone has to be exactly equal, and like people who are obese have to be uh, viewed as beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And I think those are like all arguments that make no sense, and it's like really distracting because it makes more sense to focus on yourself and say, okay, how can I make the most out of myself? Because like I recently had the thought, um, because the like starting this business is like really tough, like mentally,
Yeah.
because like often when I lie in bed at night, I think like, okay, what if everything fails and I wasted my money and I wasted my time and nothing works out and I'm a failure? And I think that's normal to have those thoughts. But at the same time, I think like we only, and this is not like this YOLO type bullshit, but we are only like once on this planet, right? And
Yeah.
wouldn't it be like a total waste of this time to not like build the best body we can, not like become the most educated and smart version of ourselves and so on? Like I think we have so much potential and it would be such a waste to not realize it.
Yeah. No, 100%. So, I love that. And what like one YouTuber that I also follow quite closely, and honestly, this guy is also somewhat of a role model to me. Again, he's another fitness guy. His name's Will Tennyson, and he said that, you know, when it comes to dealing with the like procrastination, right, and then questioning should I, shouldn't I, well, if you adopt this mindset that the time is going to pass anyways,
Yeah,
whether you do something or you don't, or do something completely different, that time is still going to go, right? And I'm a firm believer of this mindset, which is, of all the currencies that are like deemed to be valuable in the world, the most valuable currency which we are constantly losing is
for
time.
sure. For sure.
So if you use that time productively, and you know, you put it into something that you can actually build, and if it doesn't work out, then okay, fine, but at least you know, right? And guaranteed, like 9 times out of 10, from that failure, you will pull valuable lessons, and they will become stepping stones into something that becomes successful. So
For
I've
sure.
I've had this whole like thing with myself, because I used to be like, yeah, well, you know, I want to be like a fitness guy. I want to be, you know, I'm like, I want to market myself on IG. I want to I want to be sponsored by like an athletic company. I also want to be in the self improvement. There's like this whole self improvement like sphere dynamic. my goal, like for me, my goal, what sort of I gauge as like success and how I think that I would be maximizing my life essentially is to put content like this out onto YouTube, to be doing collaborations with the likes of people like Hamza, Austin, um, you guys, right? Bringing everybody into this. I don't want to use like the term like manosphere or like self improvement sphere, but like you know what I mean. Like this, bring this movement
For
to
sure.
light and spread it
Yeah.
far and wide, right? Just spread the net as far as possible, okay? And create courses for people to take to learn. I guess as I learned, right? Because I've never really been like I'm an academic, but I've never been academically inclined. If that makes sense.
Hmm.
Learning has always been
Same.
a bit of a chore for me because
Same.
I
Yeah.
love to be practical. I like to be engaged and stimulated by lots of different moving parts. And if I'm just reading a textbook, I just switch off. I just want to sleep, right? Like I just shut down.
Yeah.
But but the way that I learn and the training I received from the army kind of like mixed together because you get taught by the numbers in a very like very direct, like no bullshit way about things. So
Yeah.
that's the way that I want to bring my experience to the table. Now, see, I've got all these brilliant ideas and these dreams, and even I lay in bed sometimes and I'm just like, when is the YouTube channel gonna take off? You know,
Yeah.
when is it gonna take off? But I've noticed over the last couple of days, I've been gaining like one or two subscribers, like one subscriber per day. But you know what? That's progress. That's a win,
For sure.
right? That's a win. Success, success to one person or progress to one person cannot be gauged in the same way as another person because, like you said, yes, we are all special. We all have like our gifts, right? But we can't all be the same, right? We can't all be the same
Sure.
because how are we unique then, right? But if you play to your strengths and and this is one fundamental aspect because this has been one of my biggest flaws, which is why I I haven't like achieved the goals that I would have say like 4 or 5 years ago had I started then, but I'm doing it now, which plays its own important part in my life, in my journey, etc. But it was
For
to build
sure.
consistency. It was to
Yeah.
establish consistency. If you play to whatever your strengths are and sprinkle in some consistency, you've got a recipe for success. That's my belief system.
For
I
sure.
I wholeheartedly
100%.
believe it. And like people will try and like steer you off and be like, well, unless you're like, if you want to be like an influencer or whatever this, like, you have to be like super attractive. You need to have like the perfect like like eye to nose ratio, and like your cheekbones need to be very aesthetic and your body needs to be aesthetic and you have to fit the look and everything. I was like, maybe in the fitness industry, but also there are guys who are fitness influencers who started off like myself, like slim, but then they blew up after their transformation video. But how do you think they got to the transformation? They
Exactly.
had a dream and just a sheer willpower to be consistent, to turn up every single day, right? And that's something I tell to all the people who ask for my counsel. I'll tell you like a classic example. So there was this kid um, who was in my Discord DMs the other day, and he was talking like about he's got feelings for this girl, but he doesn't know if he wants to push with her. Um,
This guy.
sh-
Yeah.
yeah, that guy, that guy, right?
Yeah. Sure.
And so I gave him my wholehearted advice, but he was still like questioning and questioning and questioning. He wanted me to take the accountability from him and
Yeah.
make a decision for him. And I said, "Listen, bro, I cannot make this decision for you. One, because we are two different people, and two, this is your life, right? If I tell you to do something, if I tell you to go option A, but you really deep down want to go option B, and you go and do A, and if it all backfires and blows up, all right, then one, you're going to unconsciously develop this resentment for me, which is counterintuitive because now you're just layering upon pre-existing problems. And two, you're going to destroy your confidence even further because you did not make that decision. Like, I've been in that situation. Like, I've been in the
Sure.
situation of constantly asking for assurance and guidance, constantly doing that. Like, to a degree, that's what happened earlier when I was asking you guys, should I bulk or should I cut? But that's because
Exactly. Same thing.
you know what I mean? But I've taken the onus on myself to be on this cutting cycle first, right? To get myself as lean as possible and then take it from there into like lean bulking. So that way, I know that what I'm gaining is like good quality muscle, right? And that's my mentality. But I could have just what I would have done like a year or two ago is I would have ummed and ahed. I would have got your opinion. I would have got like even Hamza's opinion. I would have got Austin's opinion. I would have got everyone else's opinion, and I still would have ummed and ahed because I'd be. What I'm basically asking for is, can you make the decision for me? Take away my accountability so that in the event that I just screw up, I can't
Exactly.
I can't blame myself. And I said this to this kid, and he was just like, I think he didn't like my answer because he just ended it with a very, oh, thank you for your help and thank you so much, blah blah. And then 2 days later, he's in Garbina's DMs asking the exact same thing, and I was just like, well, you got to learn somewhere. But yeah, like accountability, consistency, and the dream
For sure.
will will get you anywhere in life. Anywhere in life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think that's like the secret formula.
Yeah.
And like one more thing to what you just said. When you make the decision for him, you said um, like what will happen if he doesn't succeed. But the biggest problem that this causes is that if he does like fail with that, he will place the blame on you,
Yep.
which will stop him from learning from it.
Yep.
So, and I think this is like a big reason. And I'm not sure if you knew that, but I'm also like doing like forex trading for like over like 1.5 years now, and
I
I've
think.
been learning from a mentor.
Yep.
And really often when he gave me like trades to do, um, I asked him a lot of questions, and or if I made like a trade myself, I asked him like, "What do you think about it?" And he always said to me and called me out like, "You're trying to put the responsibility on me," because the problem with it is, if I ask you for advice and then take your advice, then I'm very likely to not like fully accept the responsibility if I do fail. And I think like like you just said, there are like three components to really succeeding in like any endeavor. It's like responsibility of your own actions, consistency to like follow through, and the last thing was like having a vision.
Yeah.
And I think you really only need those like three things, and everything else is just like procrastination and like having the perfect strategy. Like I used to think about like doing self-development content, and I spent like time like doing design templates, like building like how do you say, like a content plan, all that stuff. But I wasn't creating content. I was doing like all that bullshit, but like maybe like
All the
picking colors.
blueprints.
Yeah,
Yeah.
picking colors, fonts, everything,
Yeah. Yeah.
but not like doing the action. And
Yeah.
I think this is really important to like just like take imperfect action. And because you can have the best plan in the world, but if you don't take action, nothing will happen.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I think that's really important, like for a lot of people to understand who are starting out with like self development, like what's the best habit tracker, what habits should I do, what is the best diet, the best workout plan, all that stuff. Like just start, do like really bad, like, or if you want to start a business, or if you want to start coaching. Like I started the coaching thing 7 months ago, and I changed a lot of stuff around because I just started, I just took action and made a lot of mistakes, made a lot of bad decisions, wasted like 500 euros just on like creating a website, which was totally useless because there was no traffic. But I just took action, and so I was like slowly moving in the right direction. So I
Yeah.
think it's really important to not try to get things right. Like just try to aim for doing anything, and then over time you see, okay, this isn't working, this is working, and just adjust over time.
That's it. It's like it's a learning process, right? And I wanna like touch on 2 points just from what you've said, right? So, firstly, absolutely, without action, you'll go nowhere. You can have the um, best played like ideas, plans, etc. You can have all the bells and whistles, like even like in the army, we used to have this like expression where you can have all the gear and no idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we would see like some of the guys there, right? Because once you get out of basic training, you can buy some of your own equipment. So we'd
Mm-hmm.
have guys who have like molly like chest rigs and like grenade belts and stuff. And bearing in mind we were medics, right? So we don't carry grenades or any of that shit. But they'd be like, yeah, 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 I'm gonna have like the most state of the art like med burger, and I'm gonna have like this harness that like has this like fold out like medic pouch. It's gonna have like 10 tourniquets and all this shit. But they would have no clue how to utilize it properly, or their level of training was like substandard. And then
Mm-hmm.
you've got like guys who run with like standard issue stuff, which is just very basic, very basic. It's functional, right?
Yeah.
You don't look like a customized like Call of Duty character, like you're about to jump into a Warzone game, right? Because
Yeah.
that's it's just impractical, right? And it's like, why would you need to have all this gear and all these gadgets when you have the know-how and the application to make things happen, right? And
For sure.
that just like filters straight into the whole concept of, yeah, you can have the best website in the world. It could be like the most perfect algorithmic, if that's even a word, like data mined, researched site. But if there's no action behind it to push it out there, to bring people in, to promote, to run ads, to run sales, and all that stuff, it just sits there. It's literally just
Exactly.
like just dead in the water, right? And Pablo even said this from our group. He was like, everybody's got like a million and one great ideas. Everybody has the potential to be something like important, influential, or whatever, right? The thing that kills it is the lack of action, and without action, it's just another idea. Like you can't even claim that idea as your own because you've taken no action to manifest it, let it
True.
materialize, and then coin it. And I was just like, yeah, like damn, he's spitting facts. Because before I was also like, yeah, I'm gonna get into like this whole YouTube thing, and I'm gonna start like vlogging and all that stuff. But I don't have an SLR camera. I don't have like a really cool like setup. I don't have a badass looking tripod and all that stuff. It's coming now because I've now got the means to afford it, and I know where I want to take the channel. I know where I want to take the vlogs. I want to start like shooting in the gym, start shooting on the move, etc. But like initially, if you look at my stuff on my channel, it was all done on my phone. It was all done on this, you know,
Yeah.
on a Samsung, and yeah, the audio quality wasn't the greatest. The video also wasn't the best, but it got content rolling. And then
For
I
sure.
had a bit of a lull. I had a bit of a break, etc. Um, and then yeah, that's when I got this webcam, which also isn't ideal, but it still gets me out there. So it's action. It's
Yeah.
just act, and it doesn't matter. You can stutter, you can fumble. I have this thing where I take prominent pauses because I've done quite a bit of public speaking, where they teach you the power of the pause is so powerful. It's
Yeah.
more powerful than coming up with the most articulate like barrage of sentences to illustrate a point. But when it comes to video, because of people's attention spans, the pause starts, the brain just starts to deactivate, right? But
Yeah.
I'm getting better with that, getting better with the flow. I'm learning also how to edit out the prominent pauses. But before, first couple of videos were raw, man, really raw. But still, it got some views. It
Yeah.
gave me it also afforded me the experience and the opportunity to look at them and say, okay, this is what I need to do differently. This is what works. Okay, maybe I won't use this next time. Maybe this will be like the thumbnail, right? This is how I'll improve thumbnails. This is what I'll do, etc. And that's only because I took action. all these people
Exactly.
who say, yeah, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but they take no action. Well, how are they going to know? How are they going to know? Because they've taken no steps to fail, to learn from, to succeed.
Exactly.
You know?
And like you don't get better, or you don't get like good results from trying to do something good, right? You don't make a good YouTube video because you try to make a good video. You make good videos because you did 30 shitty ones, and then you make the first decent one, and then you make another 50 decent ones, and then the first good one, right? So like whatever you do, like writing, everything, like also speaking, like I think I have a pretty bad German accent. I think it's getting better, but like
I wouldn't have guessed that, by the way. You sound
really,
German. Yeah, you sound German enough to me.
yeah. So
In a good
the
way.
thing, yeah, the thing is like at first I thought, okay, I need to get better at speaking before I can start like creating content, start creating like stuff. But the thing is, I only get better by doing it. Like and in the beginning, especially, like I can make, or you, like for your example, you're making YouTube videos. Like the first 50 videos are not going to be watched by like millions of people, most likely. So it doesn't matter if they're not as good as they could be eventually. And I think one very important thing like that I like to do, or that I did, was to, if you have like any big plans, don't talk about them. And in fact, both of my parents and my ex-girlfriend, now ex-girlfriend, they still don't know what this business is. They still don't know that I'm building a coaching business, because I said, um, I will like work on this quietly until I first get like the first major successes. And then I say, hey, this is what I've done. So I'm not saying, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I have this idea, all that stuff. But instead, I'm going to take action and then say, hey, these are the results. And I think for everyone who's like maybe watching this, um, or is going to watch this in the future, if you have like a big goal, just keep it to yourself and just work on it, and then talk about the results you get, because this will stop you from there's like an actual psychological phenomenon that when you talk about a goal that you have, it is the same process inside of your brain, like that like it's the same process that happens like when you actually achieve that goal. It's
Yeah.
the same like thing. So a lot of people say their goals, and because they say them out loud and talk to others about them and get like, yeah, that's a good idea, yeah, do that, they don't do it because they lost like the drive behind it. So I think this is like a really good idea to just keep it to yourself in the beginning.
Yeah, I agree. In the beginning, for sure. What I will dispute on that, though, because I do it myself.
Yeah,
I think it's also important. So if you have like a circle that you confide in, or like everyone's got an inner circle,
for
family,
sure.
relationship partner, or even just like friends, right? Even if there's like one person that you just bounce ideas off each other, right? If that person is supportive to
For
your
sure.
goal, and I mean like 100% supportive, not just like, oh yeah, yeah, it'd be a good idea, yeah, just go, like, yeah, just whatever, like,
Yeah.
if they will support you, like if you were to say, you know what, man, I'm gonna just leave the country and go live on a beach, like I'm gonna go live in Bali and just be a monk for the rest of my
Yeah.
days, and if they were like, yeah, okay, that's, yeah, we stand behind you, right? That level of support, if you have a circle or a social group that would support you to that degree, then those are what I'd call like the day oneers, if that makes sense, right? Those are
Yeah,
the
for
people
sure.
they've backed you from day one, right? So irrespective of whether you make something of yourself or you don't, they're still gonna be there, right?
I
um
agree.
as
I
as
agree.
opposed to like a lot of groups that they'll be like, oh, but I thought you were gonna do this, bro. I thought you were gonna be like this big shot
Yeah.
YouTuber, bro, because we're waiting for our come up, bro. Like what are you doing? Like, hurry up and do this, bro. um if you've got that group that can support you, then I think there's no problem with talking about it, talking
I
about the
agree. Yeah,
plan, right? Because that can even lead to more insightful ideas
for
to
sure.
further expand on your pre-existing ideas, yeah. But
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you. At first, keep it low to the ground, because if anything, you need to. The way I look at it is, you need to contain that mental energy,
Hmm.
and this is the hardest part. You need to refrain from converting it into like this verbal diarrhea, where like for some reason people just seem to, like, when everyone's on a high, right? Especially when people get on a high, they just want to talk, they want to mingle, they want to like share everything about themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, ironically, it's like something that I'm doing, but it's not. It's not because I'm on this like mental high. It's because now I'm like carefully thinking out content. It's because I'm thinking about how I'm going to portray my message. It's how I'm going to plant the next brick to lay the foundations for my business. The trick
Yeah.
is when you've got so many, when you've got like a lot of people just generically just spitballing ideas, like you said. Everybody wants to be a millionaire, right? Everybody feels like a millionaire come payday, come that paycheck. Everyone's the richest in the world, right? What happens the weekend after? They're broke. They're living, they're living like not even below their means. It's because they have to, because they've gone and splurged out on like all sorts of stuff over the weekend, right? Because they've been riding that high,
Yeah.
and now their whole level of productivity, their energy, and everything has dropped. So even if they say they had aspirations to be a YouTuber and they wanted to invest in like a camera, or invest in, a course to learn SEO or the YouTube algorithm, well, they don't have the means to, because they don't have that money anymore, because they went and pissed it away in a pub somewhere. I know
Yeah.
so many people in my, like, especially in like my military friendship circle, who live for what's called a millionaire's weekend. The moment that paycheck comes, everybody hits the bar, everybody hits the town, everybody's getting Domino's pizza. They're going wild. They'll maybe hit up a strip club, maybe even see a couple escorts, go and blow off some steam, really go and live it up.
Yeah.
And then they're poor. Out of 30 days, 28 of them are, nah, man, I can't do this. I'm poor. Or I've got to save, I've got to save. I don't have the money to, because those
It's a
two
good
days,
excuse.
yeah, and that's it. And the thing is, your excuses only sound good to yourself. To everybody else,
But true.
it's just a
Yeah.
cheap cop out. It's just a cheap cop out. And so there's a level of accountability, and the whole premise of instant versus delayed gratification that really needs to be understood before it can be
For sure.
applied. So I agree. When you get an idea, when you've got a business plan in mind, initially keep it to yourself. If you have a strong support group, voice it to them, but
Sure.
don't get too deep about it, unless you know that they will have your back 100%, because people like that
Yeah.
do exist. um
For sure.
it's just, don't get carried away and get off on the high, because
Yeah.
again, it's like, I feel like in a way it's almost like its own dopamine release.
It is. Yeah.
It is. You get so like amped up and riled up, and you're like, yeah, gonna make this YouTube channel. It's gonna be sick. I've got all these great ideas. I'm gonna write ideas down.
Yeah.
It's gonna be amazing. And everyone's like, yeah, bro. They start celebrating. It's almost like you've created the video, and everyone's seen it, and everyone's like giving you a pat on the back. They're like, yeah, well done, SK. You did a really good job. It's like phenomenal effort. Yeah, road to 1 million. Here we go. And then you sit down after you've come off that high, and you haven't even created the channel, and then you're just like, oh shit, well, I don't have that drive anymore. I don't have the energy. You know what I'll do? I'll just go play some video games. Or maybe, I'm feeling a bit bored. Maybe I'll just like watch a movie, watch Netflix, maybe maybe watch a spicy video,
Yeah.
and just, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
the
Because it's easy. It's like it's easy to talk about it and get
yeah,
the dopamine,
that's
but
it.
it's like difficult to put the work in.
Yeah.
But I do agree with like sharing it with people you know have your back. Um, so like I've talked to a lot of my good friends about like this coaching thing. So it's not like I'm keeping it from everybody, but I wanted to like make sure that I took action first And because like I guess a lot of people, and me especially in the past, I used to be like a talker. I used to be like yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do
Mm,
that, and I didn't do anything. Like most people who have like maybe great ideas but are not executing.
I can relate.
And also I think if you're doing something that is very difficult, um, it's important that you don't tell like, or don't talk to that to people where you're not sure they have your back, because like this was the reason why I didn't talk to my ex-girlfriend about it, because I kind of thought she wouldn't approve of it, because she isn't so much into that like self-improvement thing, and I thought she wouldn't understand it like in the way like I understand it. And so I thought, okay, it's a big risk to talk to her about it, because um first of all, I don't want to waste my time with like arguing, and also I don't want to have anyone tell me that it's a stupid idea, because I'm not like confident enough in this thing to like be resilient to all that.
Right.
But I think it's a balanced thing, like always, like to talk to some people about them, and also like what you said, bounce of ideas. Like it's really it's really helpful just to talk to someone about like any problem, because you just get a lot of like mental like stimulus, and get like new ideas and new thoughts just from talking. And so I think that's really helpful for
Yeah,
sure.
I like that. Um, Mental resilience. You need to
Yeah.
develop a sense of mental resilience within yourself first, because, like anything new, right? You don't have confidence in what you're doing. It's like with calisthenics, for example, right? I've been trying to learn the handstand for the best part of
Hmm.
2 months now. When I first started, my first ever attempt at a handstand against a wall, I nearly threw myself through the wall because I had like no confidence in being able to just raise myself up, like basically pivot myself, flick myself up, and then raise myself up against this wall. I ended up doing like a front roll into the wall, right? It was the most embarrassing thing I've ever done in my life because like this,
Really.
yeah, there's this really nice girl that I see from time to time who was at my gym was there, and I'm pretty sure she saw me because there's a mirror
Oh.
in front, and she saw me, and I was just like, yeah, but um, but then I got straight back up, and I was like, all right, that was the first ever handstand attempt, at least like in probably like 20, 20 plus years, because I used to do stuff like that all the time as a kid. But when you're a kid,
Yeah.
you also don't know, you don't have like that mental barrier. You don't have that level
True.
of discernment to be able to be like, you know what, this is potentially dangerous. Maybe I won't try and do a handstand like on a railing, or like you maybe I won't try and do something crazy like trying to clear like 7 steps at once. Just when you used to leap over steps and stuff, right? Because as a kid, you don't realize that you know what, my bones could actually shatter if I land incorrectly. But as we grow, as we learn information, that's also the curse of knowledge, right? Because then that knowledge then can be a bit of a hindrance. But
For sure.
but it was the resilience, the mental resilience, and I was just like, okay, cool. Some people saw me. Like there was even one guy who kind of looked at me. I was like, what the hell's this guy doing, right? And like fast forward to 2 months later, I'm at the point now where I've practically unlocked it, practically
Nice
unlocked the
one.
handstand. I can hold myself up. All I have to do now is just gauge to apply enough pressure in the fingertips. So I'm like creating that rocking motion and I hold myself straight up. But if I was to tell everybody in the gym, for example, hey man, I'm going to be doing handstands, one, people are going to be like, okay, because
Yeah.
they don't know you, right? So the concept of like having a new business idea or a new idea in general, if you go around to every person and say, "Yeah, man, so I'm creating this business on coaching. It's about self-improvement." First of all, there are going to be people there who don't even know what the hell self-improvement is, so they're going to be like, "What?" Secondly, they're going to be people there who'll just be like, "Oh, okay, cool." What they want to see is receipts. That's what gets people hooked and interested,
Sure.
right? So if you don't even have the confidence to go through the process of generating those receipts to show other people, what is the use in telling people about it?
Yeah.
You know,
And most people actually don't care. Like
most people don't
the
care.
same, like when you had your handstand fail, like your
Yeah.
first handstand, for you it feels like really like embarrassing in that moment,
Oh, mate. Yeah.
but like, people who saw you, they cared for like 3 seconds, and
Yeah. They're
then they
like,
forgot
damn.
about it.
Yeah. It was probably more concern. Like, I hope that guy didn't break his neck.
Yeah, for
Or
sure.
like one person would laugh because they probably haven't laughed in a while. And it's like, all right, cool. Well, look to flip a negative situation into a positive one, right? And that's what
For
I've
sure.
learned about building resilience, because like the whole idea of like mental resilience isn't just this whole concept of, oh well, fuck you, man, you're just a hater. I'm gonna do it on my own anyways. Like you're just a hater. You blah blah blah. Just wait, I'll show you. I'll show you. Um, that mentality is actually more like detrimental and damaging than
For sure.
adopting a person like a personality, actually adopting a personality of just being very humble. And you can switch. I call it transmutational. I call it a transmutational personality. Being able to take a negative comment and flip it into something positive, because one, you show that you're not insecure about yourself, and two, you completely take the wind out of the other person's sails. So
Yeah.
like, it's like someone someone like would make like a comment about like, oh, some of my old army friends, right? The banter gets quite savage, right?
Hmm.
And before, like, I've got a high hairline, right? Okay, I've got a bit of
Same.
recession going on, yeah. I used to get really insecure about it, and so my friends would see that and they would capitalize on that, and that would make me even
Yeah.
more insecure. But I was at a house party with them after like not seeing them for like almost 2.5 years. And again, they tried, like, as we eased into the night, they tried to make like some hairline jokes, etc. And what was it? I just remember just kind of like looking at them and just kind of like laughing it off. I think one comment was also like, so yeah, they said something about like, yeah, you can't like rely on like your hairline or whatever because it's already gone back. And I was like, look, man, I know, like, what the hell, like, it's just I kind of struck out of luck in that department. But I said something like, it's a good thing that I can grow some facial hair because I'd rock the bald and bearded look or something like that, right? And like there were girls around and everything, and the girls were just like, yeah, yeah, like, fair one, he's like, yeah, he's confident in himself, right? Maybe not the best analogy, but I hope it illustrated the point that you develop that mental resilience.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter as much. And in my previous video, I even mentioned it. I was like, it's got to the point now. I used to obsess and obsess, and now I'm just like, you know what? I don't even care, bro. I don't even care. If it happens, it happens. I'm using a protocol to try and reverse it, right? Because I do believe in at least try. At least try. Like,
For sure.
if you want something, try. Again, it goes back to that you can't just wish things into existence. You can't just wish things into like, yeah, I'm just gonna like pray really hard that I'm gonna have thick locks of hair, right? And I'm gonna grow a big Viking beard, and one day I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna look like the brown Ragnar Lothbrok. It's like that's not how it's gonna work.
Didn't work for me. So
but again, you just take steps towards the goal. Right? You just
for
take
sure.
steps towards it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then you've learned a lesson from it, and that's the
For
most
sure.
important part. You learn from the experience. That's what
For sure.
develops resilience, and that
Yeah.
then translates into confidence, and then confidence is transmutational, because anything that negative that gets thrown into like the vortex that is confidence, it goes in as negativity and comes out flipped as a 180 as positivity, or you just
Interesting
diffuse it.
idea.
You just diffuse it. That's the way I look at it. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you have to truly have a base level of confidence in order to take the steps. And that's what the self-improvement five pillars I believe instill, because they govern, the five major aspects of what makes us as young men, or just, or even like girls. Like I've seen a few girls in the Discord channel, like like talking, and I've spoken to a few of them, and they were like, yeah, this is actually pretty cool. Like it's not just like I think at first they came in thinking that we were a bunch of like incels that just like hated women, like a bunch of
Yeah,
hardcore like red pill like doomsday marchers. And I was like, no, 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 it's got nothing to do with that. We're literally just guys who want to maximize the best potential that we have, so that we can offer value to the world. Because if you
exactly.
bring it down to its bare bones, man, what do we have in life to give other than value? Even if you're a billionaire, right, and you're living your best life, even if you do nothing for humanity, that's the fact that you are deemed as a high member of society, as a billionaire, as like one of these bougie celebrities and everything, is because you meet a certain metric that denotes value. So similarly, you got people like Hamza, First Man, Casey Zander, Austin Dunham, who else? Nadal, right? Jordan Peterson, men who are talking about making the best of your life. That in its is its rawest form of value. And that's what makes them
For sure.
so valuable. That is what constitutes to being a high value male.
For
So
sure.
it trickles down to literally, first of all, developing the resilient mindset, having a base level of resilience. Because I know this all too well. I'm sure you've had these experiences too. But think of the amount of times like you haven't even like said to someone that you've got an idea. Let's just say you were praised for something, and someone tries to put you down. Someone tries to bring you down because they don't feel like they were gaining something, or they feel like, oh, hold on, this guy's straying way
Yeah,
too far from us, the sad bunch. We need to bring him back in,
for
and we need to
sure.
be miserable together. Yeah.
True. That's true. Yeah, I think actually, I think the recipe for success, sorry, not success, for confidence, or to phrase it differently, I think confidence is the result of missing anxiety. Like, I think when you don't care about some things, if you're not anxious about specific things, you're confident. I think confident is not so much about thinking yourself, like thinking of yourself as like something valuable. So like being like, yeah, I'm high value, I'm rich, I have a great body, and this why I'm confident. I don't think this is like the truest form of confidence. I think it's more about just don't having any anxiety in specific areas. So for example, I used to work as a working student in like a small startup, and before like I quit to pursue this like coaching full time, and toward the end, I became super confident at my workplace and didn't really care about like when people like made fun of me, because I just knew like if they would fire me on the spot today, I would just have more time for my own business. And this just flipped the switch. Like I didn't think I was better than them, because I wasn't, but I just didn't care anymore if they would say anything bad about me or if they would fire me. And this actually led them to valuing me a lot more than they used to, which was quite interesting because I wanted to leave, and for this reason, they valued me a lot more than they did before. So I think confidence is really important, and also what you said about value. Um, like I think though, like if you provide value, you get something back, and
Yeah.
for most people, it will be like money. Like the 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 basis for a transaction is that you provide any form of value, like a service, like a product, whatever it is, and you get money as a return. So some people think, okay, why are some people so so crazy rich. They're rich because they find a way to provide a lot of value to a lot of people, and this is why they get a lot of money. So and the same is true like for relationships. People think like I'm entitled to have like a nice girlfriend, or I'm entitled to like have like a large social circle. But like why would anyone be together with you? Like this was the question I've asked myself, like why would any like very high value girl want to be with me?
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, there aren't that many reasons. Like, yeah, I have a nice personality, like whatever that means, but
Yeah.
yeah, this is not value. And so I said, okay, how can I be more valuable? And
Yeah.
this like creates the results as a like natural consequence.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Like you, everything in life, right? And this is also like part of self improvement, which I can see how people mistake it for RP awareness, red pill awareness. You're familiar with it, right? You're familiar with blue pill, red
Red
pill
pill.
ideology. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Part of, I would say, the self improvement journey is to also like cut away the fluff of life,
Yeah,
where it's like, yes, everybody everybody is special, right? But not everybody is a winner, if that makes sense. Everybody has the potential to be a winner,
for sure.
provided that you put the work in, provided that you do the work, right? And like, especially in today's modern day society, it's like, I mean, just look at what's happening with this like body conscious movements. It's like you got people who are clinically morbidly obese, literally on the brink of going into like cardiac arrest because they can barely move their bodies. And you've got photographers like putting them in like sportswear and then trying to say, yeah, this is a fit body. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm not like, I'm all for self love and I'm all for being comfortable with who you are, having been someone who suffered with body dysmorphia most of my life. But I'm sorry, you cannot tell me that being 300 pounds of fat, and that's only on the outside. If you look on the inside, look at all the visceral fat that's literally suffocating your organs and
Yeah,
constricting your arteries. I mean, I'm a medic, right? So I'll go I might even make a video about this specifically, like later on
for
down the
sure.
line, and just go down the medical pathway, right? So I don't get fucking cancelled. I'm sure there'll be people who will come with their pitchforks and be like,
For
he's
sure.
he doesn't agree with what I. Fuck off, man. I don't care. Like at the end of the day, you cannot tell me that you are happy with the fact that like it takes like 60 80% of your actual like body's energetic expenditure to move yourself. It's like going up a flight of stairs makes you out of breath. Yeah, but I'm really happy. Like, no, no,
Yeah,
that's delusion. I'm sorry, that's delusion. And when things like this get pushed into like mainstream media and you got reporters being like, yeah, look how like great this person is and all that, etc. um because they have the confidence to step into a camera, like, yeah, sure, it could be confidence, but you're displaying the wrong image. Because again, with the mindset, those who have taken the self improvement journey have developed a level of resilience, and with resilience comes confidence. With confidence comes the ability to discern good from bad, right from wrong, healthy, unhealthy. See, you see the comparisons. The majority of people live in this blur in between, where they're constantly fluttering back and forth, and it's very much a case of like, oh yeah, well, Kanye West's Yeezys are out, I'm gonna go cop them. Oh shit, Nike just dropped these new Air Forces, I'm gonna go cop them because that's trendy and everything. Wait a minute, why don't I have money? Oh shit, I was gonna start my own family business, but I don't have money because, well, no. I had to get that bag. I had to go on that holiday. I had to go out that one night with that person to network because I wanted to be popular. How don't I have any money? Right? It's that herd mentality. That's
Because of
the
the rich. Because
exactly.
of the rich, they are taking all the money from you.
Exactly. And and people live in this like very herd mentality, right? So everything that's pushed out into social media and on like TV is highly influential to these people, to the majority of people, right?
For
This
sure.
is people worldwide. That's how you get all these movements and like what's happening right now. So it's like, yeah, self improvement cuts out the fluff of no, it is
Yeah.
absolutely not acceptable to be a substandard product, to be a substandard, person, because
Yeah.
the whole concept is to. I mean, no. I mean, if you're again, if your definition of high value means that you're earning, say, like £1 more in your salary, if you live in an apartment that just runs on very functional means and terms, because there are some people who are just very, very strict minimalists, that's fine, right? But if that's their definition, right? Because self improvement is what you make of it. It's for yourself. So
For sure.
if someone's like, yeah, my objective of self improvement is to be able to still take my drugs, but not be broke while doing it. So you know what I mean? That's like the double edged sword. Of course, we don't. I don't advocate that because drugs are harmful to you. But if that is a person's concept and ideology, then so be it. Who am I to tell them no? Who am I to tell them otherwise,
Yeah.
right? Because I use that same time doing something completely different. The only similarity that I have with the other person is that time is just going down. I just do things differently, right? But um, people people who think that the self improvement movement is like a very red pilled concept. Those are the same people who would who would grab their pitchforks and go on a witch hunt without having very much information. They're the
For sure.
misinformed, right? Those are the people that I personally believe are the misinformed. I mean, you can see
Yeah.
like what's happening with Hamza, for example, now where people are now starting to question his natty or not status, and it's just like the guy literally like vlogged his workouts. He's got a routine which he sells in a course. How's about instead of being a salty little bitch, why don't you buy the course? Because that's what I did. I bought the course
Yeah.
and I've been incorporating parts of it. So I've built my own program, which I will then use when I establish myself in the YouTube community, right? Because that's what you do. You model yourself. You take little bits from different people,
For sure.
and you make it your own, bro. Like, why reinvent the wheel? Why? The wheel's there. It exists, and so many
Make it
people
better.
have turned it. Just exactly. Just add to it. There's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with being a different spoke in the wheel, provided that what you're doing helps the wheel turn,
For
and it's
sure.
coming from a based point of view, right? I would never try and
Yeah.
pull some V shred bullshit and just be like, yeah, drink nothing but salt water to lose weight, because like that's completely ridiculous. But there's ethics that also stem into the process, you know.
For sure.
Um, yeah. Give me 2 seconds, Max. I just need to step away. Okay, 1 sec. I'll be right
Sure.
back. I'm back. Sorry, apologies.
All right.
Um,
No problem.
going out for a family dinner tonight.
Nice
It's
one.
booked in for 7. So my mom just wanted to know like what's the plan. That's all. But yeah, no, we
Yeah.
still got some time. Still got some time to
Yeah.
carry
Sure.
on. But
Um,
I wanted to ask this question. Or actually, before we carry on, do you have like any points to like add on to that?
yeah. Sure. one thing to the whole like body positivity, all that stuff you just mentioned. I think the biggest reason for all of that is just that people are not willing to take like responsibility, because like if everybody is beautiful, then you don't have to work on yourself. Like if you're
What
not rich,
defines exactly? What defines like the upper echelons and the successful sides
yeah,
of
that's also like a different story. Like
the?
saying everyone is beautiful is like wrong in like the phrase beautiful means, or the word beautiful means that something is above average. So like not everybody can be the best, because the best implies that someone is better than others, like that, or something. Like you can't say like every every person is the most beautiful person in the world, because that's just like delusional. And I think like you can say treat everyone with respect. Like someone, like for example, we have some people in our community, right? They are overweight, slightly or even more. um that doesn't mean that they are like bad people, or that they are like to be disrespected in any way. But it would be like really inappropriate and really like damaging if we told them just stay how you want to be, like just like no, stop working out,
Yeah,
you're beautiful just as you are. And I
yeah.
think like all those like also like Occupy Wall Street, eat the rich, all that bullshit just stems from people not willing to be like responsible. Because um
Oh,
if it's someone else's fault, you don't have to do anything.
yeah.
Like if you're not successful because of the bad economy, it's
Yeah.
not your fault. You
Uh,
can be
it's not your fault. You were born into a bad financial district, so
exactly.
it's okay. Just be dirt poor for the rest of your life, but just know it's not your fault.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's such a disempowering mentality. I agree.
Yeah,
Oh
and it
boy.
doesn't matter how low you are, like, or at what stage you are. Like, for example, Donald Trump said he only had from his dad like a small loan of $1 million. It's like a meme, right?
Yeah,
Um,
that was
he
funny.
found an excuse for why he isn't more successful, even though he got $1 million to start with. So it
Yeah,
doesn't matter where you start, you will always find excuses if you look for them.
yeah,
So
absolutely. It's
yeah,
all
it's
mindset,
so
man.
yeah, for sure. I think mindset is such a, it gets thrown around that word, and like it's such a meme. I think like saying like mindset, always like quotes on Instagram, like yeah, and pictures of a lion, and like yeah, strong mindset. But it's actually true, like the way you think really changes everything. And I recently heard a very good example. I think it was from Sam Harris. He said, like, for example, imagine you have like really bad back pain, right? um, and now imagine you're sitting at your doctor's office because you think you have cancer, and your back is really hurting, and you're just waiting for him to tell you if you have cancer or not. This feeling in your back will be the worst pain you have ever experienced. But if you imagine you just came from the gym, you took a shower, and you know, okay, today I hit a new PR deadlifting. This will be a totally different feeling. Or
Oh
if you're
yeah,
getting a massage, right? You're lying there on the bench, and it's the same pain in your back from the person massaging you, but it still feels completely different.
yep,
So it's
yep,
so important how you frame your thoughts, because it influences everything. So if you have unhelpful
yeah.
thoughts, then everything will go to shit.
Yep, bro. 100%. I was actually having this exact same conversation with one of my friends earlier about mind frame, and I was explaining to him the concept because I was saying to him, right. I was like, look, so I'm on this cut, right. I'm doing this cut right now. I believe personally, right. My personal belief is I deserve to have a an aesthetic body, right? I deserve to have a good functional body. Why? Because from just a fitness point alone, my routine is literally all throughout the week. We're talking like 6 days a week. I'm in the gym, right? Every single day. Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I have kickboxing, right? Within my workouts, including kickboxing, I've taken up to do skipping, right? Because I'm also trying to learn how to do a bit of speed roping just to help with my cardiovascular um, levels and fitness. Kickboxing, I mean, does that exponentially, but I'm just
For sure.
basically pushing that further. You know, the idea is to just constantly, it's like progressive overload. I'm just pushing that. And so he was saying, well, why don't, like, why can't you just be happy within yourself? And I got, yeah, I said, listen, it's not like, yes, it's about that. Yes, I am happy within myself. But what I'm trying to say is, I want the effort that I'm putting in to be reflected, not so that other people can be like, yo, look at that guy, he's yoked or he's ripped or whatever. Let's not completely try and like lie to ourselves. Yes, it's nice when,
For sure.
especially when like an attractive girl starts to notice you and
True.
she's like, oh, okay, like this guy, this guy works out and he's looking good, and like the old dude that's been at your gym for like a million years, the proper like jacked but like old guys there who just look at you and he's just like nodding. He
Approving, yeah.
approves because he's seen the blood, sweat, and tears that you've put in. Like I literally have had workouts where I've started bleeding because I was like
Oh,
deadlifting
Jesus.
so hard. No, but it's just the zone. It's just how bad do you want it, right? It's that hunger. Now I know it sounds like hyper extremist, and there'll probably be people who see this and be like, "Damn, this guy is like some sort of hardcore like wannabe David Goggins or something." It's like, no, that's not the case. It all comes, well, maybe it is a bit of the case. It comes down to the fundamental of the mindset. And like you said, it's the quality of thought that determines the quality of lifestyle. And
For
so
sure.
so for me to have this strong aesthetic body, it is like my reward, and that's why like each night when I go to bed, for some people sleep is just like a function. Sleep is just like, oh yeah, I'll just go to sleep. For me, sleep is a reward,
For sure.
because I truly feel like every day you should live and do something to the best of your ability and give value in some way, shape, or form. So,
100%. Yeah.
like what we're doing right now is one of that. I'm not gonna lie, I'll be
True.
completely honest. I haven't gone to the gym today. I've been working from the morning to the afternoon, right? I made some food. I had my anabolic meals. Okay, I didn't eat a bunch of crap like I could have done, because it's so easy to just switch to junk food when you're hungry.
True.
I was like, no, I'm gonna go and make my turkey mince. I'm gonna go have my mackerel sandwich, right? And then I just chilled for a little bit and got on this call with you, but still offering value. I didn't sit there and just do jack shit for the rest
Yeah.
for the entirety of my day. In
True.
between eating and talking to you, I tried out the Ready or Not beta, which, it's a video game, and here we go. The hardcore self improvement guys are gonna be like, oh, this guy is an Adonis and he's playing a game. Like, life's meant to be enjoyed, right?
Sure.
The idea is not to overindulge. Don't overindulge, right?
Exactly.
And if there's something that you just want to try, like, go try it, man. Because again, time is just running out. Like, you'd rather live a life of fulfillment and gratitude than a life of regrets and what ifs, and like sacrificing, like making unnecessary sacrifices for the self betterment idea. But that's just as damaging, if not more. Actually, I said it's just as damaging as being someone who just lived a very boring, plain, idle life. It's like
For
a
sure.
fat. It's like a fat person who's like, I know I need to go to the gym. I know I can get fit and everything, and they just do nothing. They just sit there, right? Um,
Yeah.
the
And
yeah.
yeah.
Go on. Sorry.
Yeah. Like one really important thing you just mentioned. Your friend said, like, can you repeat what your friend said?
Yes. So he said,
Again,
"Can you like?" He was like he was like, "Oh, like why do you feel the need to be aesthetic? Why can't you be
why can't you
happy?"
just enjoy life? Yeah. Why
Yeah.
can't you be happy? Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I think this is so important because I've had a similar like discussion with my best friend, and I think one thing most people don't understand who are not into self improvement, it's not about feeling shitty all the time. Like, I'm happier than I've ever been in my entire life, even though I'm working more than I've ever worked, even though I'm doing more difficult things than
Same.
I'm ever done.
Same.
And like, yeah, like going to the gym and doing a hard workout is uncomfortable in the beginning, but only in the beginning, this is like the difficult part, and then while you're like really in the zone and afterward, you feel amazing. Same
Yeah.
with work, like like when you wake up and think, okay, I have to work, it doesn't feel that great. But as soon as you're working and making progress and seeing results, you feel amazing. So I think most people think that self-improvement is about like, okay, I'm going to be miserable for 30 years and then I'm going to live life. But it's not about that. It's about
Yeah.
saying, okay, like I put a little bit of my enjoyment aside in the beginning, and after a few months I will see so much more, like even like gratitude journaling, like you're doing it too, right? And
Of course.
it can be annoying to pick up the journal. Like um, I have like one book that is just filled with like pages and pages of like things I'm grateful for, right? And
Nice.
it can be annoying to do that in the beginning, but it increases your quality of life by so much that it's actually worth it. Like it's like investing. Like the discomfort you invest, you get it back 100 times, 1,000
Yeah.
times. It's
100%.
so worth it.
100%. It narrows in your focus because you know what I how I imagine um this is like a generic comparison, right? But people who do practice like self-improvement, meditation, fitness,
Hmm.
etc., compared to those who don't, it's like a 4-year-old in a candy store with ADHD compared to like someone who's just like a like an adult who just walks in, says, "Okay, I want a Snickers bar. I'm going to buy a Snickers bar." Compared to the toddler who just wants everything, literally everything that they can get their hands on, and they focus on all these things, and then when it comes to actually eating it, they've taken more than they can actually like ingest, and they just don't know what to do with it, and then they feel almost like defeated by their own efforts, compared to the person who just goes and gets that one Snickers bar, eats that Snickers bar, feels that sensation of fulfillment, enjoyment, gets that little
Yeah,
dopamine release and everything, right? Because dopamine is important. That's
for
another
sure.
thing. Like a lot of people think that self improvement, like dopamine, is the enemy of your like journey. It's like no, it's how and what you choose to get those releases on, right?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Um, and that's what I was trying to like illustrate to my friend, and he got it. You know, he wasn't taking the stance of, oh, you're beautiful as you are, like just just stay like skinny fat, or like just stay as you are, right?
yeah.
He was just saying like basically don't make yourself miserable, and I was like, bro, I'm not miserable. I tell you what I am. I feel exhausted because like you, I've probably worked the hardest I've ever in my life. I've taken on activities that like before just the thought of them would exhaust me. I'm like stacking activities upon activities, and I'm still somehow finding a way to find my medium, my middle ground, right? And it's all because I work out, I gratitude journal, I practice, mindfulness, I meditate, I stretch, I eat good quality food, because that all creates the feedback loop of a holistic lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, like literally, I'm exhausted. And on my vision board, I think you even seen there's this quote, which is, "If you're tired, just do it tired."
I love that. Yeah.
Because people are so quick to use that as the excuse. That is the amount of times I've heard that, and the amount of times that I've actually said that. Like I just want to slap myself, like my former self, for being like, yeah, but I'm tired. It's like, dude, I
All
thought we were waking
excuses.
up. Yeah, you said you wanted to train to become more like, athletic and cardiovascularly fit. We were supposed to go for a run at 6 in the morning because work starts at 8. What happened? Oh, man, I'm just tired, I just want to chill. Or like, oh, it's too cold and I get tired, It's like, no, like get out of that cage that is the comfort zone, and that mentality of the lack of focus. Because when you're focused in, it doesn't like it doesn't even occur to you that you're
True.
tired. It doesn't even
Yeah.
occur to you. You're just like,
Just do it.
oh, okay, yeah, time to go. Because This,
For
like,
sure.
I know. I do this enough times. I'm gonna wake up one day and I'm gonna see a shredded Adonis looking back in the mirror, and like that's how I look at it. I look at myself as Adonis, who is now like morphing and taking the form of Shravan, compared to, ah, this is an unattainable goal. I really want it. I just can't be bothered. I'll do it tomorrow when I've got the motivation. I don't even need motivation anymore.
Same.
Discipline is what drives me. Discipline is what drives me. Um, because motivation is an emotion, and like all
True.
emotions, they come and they go. They dip and they spike. You get highs and lows. Discipline is a constant. Discipline is the middle ground. Discipline is like time. It's always going to be there. You just choose whether to tap into it and use it effectively or not. And
That's true.
yeah, this is the message I just want to push out to as many people as possible. Because if you knew me from like 4 or 5 years ago and seen like how I've changed now, dude, it's like chalk and cheese.
Same.
Chalk and cheese. You
Same.
you you talked to me about self improvement 4 or 5 years ago, I would have been like just every other Spurgy Jeffrey and be like, ah, that's bullshit. You think you're better than me? Fuck you.
Sure.
You're not better than me. You know, like just get really irate, and it's only because deep down inside you
It's
know that
true.
you don't have the well, you have the qualities. You just choose
Yeah.
not to
It's all
tap into them.
excuses. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, it comes all down to responsibility. And I think this is why it's so important to like promote this way of thinking of like
Yeah.
saying, okay, like, because if you say everyone is okay like they are, you
Mm.
can just stay how you are. It's really damaging because this like builds the wrong mindset for people. But if you say, hey,
Yeah.
okay, you can actually improve your life, you can actually improve yourself, and you will be like happy about it, you will enjoy your life. Like, for example, working out, I think, is like the best example.
Yeah.
There is no reason for why you can't work out or why you shouldn't work out. There's zero reason for it. At least I haven't heard a single reason for it. And everything you might come up with is just an excuse. So saying, okay, um, like
Yep.
saying, okay, why would I work out? Like my best friend isn't working out. I'm trying to get him to work out for like years now, and he's saying, why would I do that? And it's literally improving your life. It's
Yeah.
improving your health. You look better. You get better jobs. You get better like social interaction. You
It's
get
true,
more
man.
women.
Working
Everything.
out, honestly, like I've even spoken to quite a few of my female friends because I even ran this as like my own personal social experiment. And I was like, okay, say you take a guy who is bald, for example, right? Goes bald, but he's got a really good body, and then you put a guy who looks average, but he's got an amazing head of hair. He can style it in whichever way he wants. What
Yeah.
would you find more attractive? And I'll be honest, like to my surprise, a lot of the women actually said the bald guy because because there are more elements to attractiveness than just like your hair doesn't determine how disciplined you are. Your hair doesn't determine how healthy you are, right? It is an aesthetic genetic, right? Which is literally like playing Russian roulette with genetics, right? Especially we as men, because we have more testosterone than women, okay? Sometimes we just get that extra dose that sadly just suppresses the hair follicles, okay? Yes, they're like sciences and applications and all that stuff that you can use, but going beyond that, it's it's this that is your image, not just this, right?
Yeah.
It's like
And
good skin, like a good frame. You don't have to look like The Rock. You don't have to look like Jason Statham. But the first things that come to most women's minds when they think of, oh, bald attractive guy, yeah, The Rock, Jason Statham. but you know what they have in common? They both have good bodies, and they both take care of their skin. Even though like Jason Statham is a bit weathered and old British guy now, but you know what I mean? It's like
For sure.
the discipline, the success that comes with that.
You see, like, you would think, okay, he has like a nice body,
Yeah,
and okay, it's attractive, but why would I care so much? But the thing is, if you see someone who has a great body, you don't just see a great body, you see everything that's behind it:
yeah,
discipline, focus, like a vision, like a strong will, no excuses, like a responsibility, all that stuff.
yeah.
So it's
Safety,
same with money.
security,
Yeah, exactly.
which is
Same
like
with money.
fundamental, fundamental to male female relationships in any case. Because
Yeah.
a lot of them say, yeah, well, you know what? I see a fit guy, and I think, yeah, he's strong. He can protect me.
But I think most actually say, like, most women I've talked to about this say something along those lines, that they don't really care if someone is attractive, which I think
Yeah,
most people think they are like this. Like, they think, okay, I don't really care if he's like has a great body or not. The personality matters. But at the end of the day,
you don't meet the
the
personality at the first glance, but
yeah,
they get you in the door,
for
like
sure. And
one
you
hundred
can
percent.
have both. Like, I mean, like, no one says, okay, if you get a great body, you trade your personality for it. So make a choice. This is like bullshit.
Yeah,
And I think actually working out and developing a good body actually improves your personality, because you're doing something that is difficult and that is challenging, and this really like um, creates your character and your
yeah,
personality.
and you identify it in other people too, because like you know it's funny because like before I started working out and everything, I used to be one of those guys who'd be like, you'd see a muscular guy in the gym and you just think that, oh, he's just a dick. He's just like a jackass, right? He's just like
Yeah,
this typical roid raised gym bro, dude bro, like alpha Chad
for
wannabe
sure.
who thinks that if you can't curl as much as him, you're just a weak, pathetic, like waste of atoms. But
Yeah,
but he'll be the guy who will actually coach you. He'll happily spot you. You
for
know,
sure.
he'll be the first one to tell you, listen, man, just start off with a lightweight, get used to that, get the form down, get that correct, right?
Yeah,
Make sure you're not putting too much pressure on your joints, and then we'll work together. I've had guys who are like massive and jacked who would be there like cheering me on when I was at the start of my fitness journey because they could see, you know, they see here's this guy who's like really putting in the work, like he's like going to fucking war with himself to build on his dream physique. Um, there is no like higher form of self-respect than that to put
true.
yourself through something like that.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah,
like people who have achieved that really know this. So I think if you go to the gym, who's the person who's like like imagine you're trying to like break your bench PR. Who's the person who like would be least likely to laugh about you when you drop like your weights and you fail? It's not the person who is just like you starting out. It's the person who's the most jacked in the gym, because this person knows how much failure is involved in like building this body.
in
So
success. Yeah,
I mean there will be the occasional like dick, for sure, but I think in general, the more competent someone is, the less likely this person is going to be a dick.
yeah, 100%, 100%. It is it is also like the growth mindset, and when you are
Yeah,
on that path, when you start anything, you naturally start to like gravitate and find groups of like-mindedness and like-minded people.
sure.
That's why I'm so grateful for this server, man. Like honestly,
Yeah,
it's
me
probably
too.
the best thing that I've ever stepped into on Discord. Um, I need to go soon, but I have one final question I want to touch on you,
Sure.
and this is something that I've sort of been like asking myself off and on over the ages, um, and that is knowing what you know, being in the position that you are in life right now, right, with your self improvement journey. Would you rather be loved or respected by people?
I would say respect this, because I think parents love, like, how do you say it? Like unconditionally,
Yep.
but I think you can be respected by a lot of people, but you can't be loved by a lot of people. And I think for someone to love you, they have to respect you. So I think, for example, if you have like a very abusive family, um, if you if your parents, for example, like hypothetically, would abuse you, they wouldn't respect you. No, sorry, they wouldn't love you because they don't respect you. Like, I think you can't be loved by someone who doesn't respect you. So I
Yeah.
think this, yeah, I guess your answer would be similar.
Yeah, of course. Respect. Respect.
Yeah.
I kind of like tethered before because like listening to some of Hamza's videos, one major thing that we have in common is we used to always look for like love and affection from people, but the
Hmm.
pursuit of love and affection, which came across as desperation, always
Yeah.
attracted us to the wrong kind. It would always be in the form of like toxic relationships, people who couldn't even like love or respect themselves, but we'd be yearning for that from them. We'd never get it, and then that's what would like feed more into the trauma. But now I've got to the point where I believe, you know what, I would rather be respected than loved. However, I feel like when it's done right, that will work hand in hand because
For sure.
one, you gain like look at like the cult, for example. The majority of people respect and love Hamza. Every time he puts an at everyone in the Discord channel, within seconds he's getting reactions.
Yeah.
Every time he's like, "Hey guys, pick up a book and let's read in cult working or something," right? People literally just dive bomb into that group, into that channel, right? And I was like, you know what? That's the type of dynamic that I want with the world. I would
Hmm.
rather be respected by people, even by people who I've butted and clashed heads with before. Like, you can have an enemy, right? And this is like something quite. I'm quite like a big fan of like Japanese law and like Japanese like culture,
Hmm.
specifically dating back to like the samurai culture because the samurai were trained in such a way where when they went to war, there was no like emotion behind it other than they obviously like love their master, they love their country and their clan, etc. And every enemy that they fought, they gave them the respect from one warrior to another because it
Hmm.
takes, bro. I mean, I've never actually been to war, but I've stepped into the ring with like kickboxing. It takes fucking balls
For sure.
to step up to someone with a mentality like I'm going to try to kill you, or even like even if you're sparring, it's literally like I'm going to train to basically beat the shit out of you. And it takes guts. Like it takes guts to step from the rank, from the line, out of everybody, stood in unison to step forward and be like, I will go. You know?
Yeah.
Um, there is a mutual respect even amongst adversaries, and that respect can
Mhm.
even turn into love, right? Um, I mean, like some of the most like influential fighters who've gone head to head have actually grown to like respect and have like a cordial and even some friendly relationship with each other, right? Of course, it has to come from a based level of like true humble like humility and gratitude, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I would definitely be respected because even if someone didn't like me, like say with this or just whatever, they'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. Like he used to be so full of shit in high school. I hate that guy. Then they see what's coming out now and they'll be like, you know what? I respect what he's doing because
For sure.
it takes guts. It also takes a very high level of, again, like this isn't like a humble brag or anything, but it's like it takes a high level of self actuation. Is that the word? Actuation or self
Actualization.
actualization, self actualization, to be able to say, you know what, I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes. I'm still gonna make mistakes, but
For sure.
I have goals in mind, and I'm driven to get those goals. Nothing's going to stop me, and every step of the way, I want to be someone who, when I leave this place, when I do leave this earth, right, whenever that time comes, I want my legacy to be someone who had something to benefit mankind, to help people, right? Even if it is something like from this conversation, whether like, here's two young guys who are talking about focusing in on the things that truly matter, as opposed to getting caught up in this rat race of
Yeah.
like this grind, like hustle culture, or I need to be the hippest, most trending person on social media, because what does that net you other than a quick, it's like a quick bump of cocaine, you know, it's like a quick bump of
True.
like that copium and instant gratification.
Sure.
You take the slightly longer, harder route, you will actually become 100 times more than whatever it is that you're trying to get in the short term. And I truly believe that the following behind that comes from respect primarily, and then they grow to love you.
Sure.
So yeah, that was my that was just like my last sort of question to round it off there.
Yeah, I think those were some beautiful words to close that off.
I'm so glad that you said let's record this, bro, because initially I
Sure.
was like, oh, we're just gonna have a little conversation in Discord, and honestly, this stuff, I'm I'm 100% gonna put it on YouTube.
Sure.
How do you feel about it?
Yeah, maybe like I will take a look at it again, and maybe there are some like clips, like some highlights from it.
Yeah,
But I think definitely it makes sense to like talk more often,
yeah,
just bounce off ideas.
yeah, and I'm down to do this again, bro. Because this, I think this was a very based entrance
For
to
sure.
Adonis talks, and I'll put this in the Discord for the guys as well to just look at and just kind of listen
Sure.
to and just see how they feel, etc. And yeah, man, this is it, man. We'll
Thank you so much.
yeah, no, thank you for coming on, bro. I appreciate it. So yeah,
Oh, all right.